some question on whether the people at the town meeting realized that what the results of that vote would have been, as in if they realized that it could have cut services. And a couple people that I talked to about it were very insulted when I asked them if you knew that cuts to services could have been made because of that vote. And the people who I didn't get to talk to that voted for that, I'm sure they were adults and had critical thinking skills and can figure out what they were voting for. And then I get a phone call from one person who wasn't happy about this meeting and said that I need to think about the town as a whole and not a few. And that right there contradicts itself, because it's not just about what the majority wants. Because what if all you were here to cut this, to shut down the rescue? Should we just shut it down because all you were here? I feel if there's even one person who has an issue, that person should be heard. And when I got sworn in, I swore to protect the Constitution. Now, the Constitution was set up as a republic. In a republic, the minority is protected from the majority. And like Benjamin Franklin said, democracy is two wolves and a lamb voting on what's for dinner. A republic is a well-armed lamb contesting the vote. And something that really upset me was a message from Donna Coburn. She's lived in this town for over 60 years, and she's been saving up money now so that she can fix her house so she can put it on the market, because each year I don't know if people know her, but she's a widow, and all she does is she takes care of a few kids because it's her income. Every year she has to make a choice whether she can eat her house or pay her taxes. And I'm a libertarian, and I don't know if people know what that means, but libertarians believe in non-aggression and property rights. To me, taxes are just a legalized form of armed robbery. Because if you don't pay your taxes, somebody's coming to your house and they're going to take either money, you, or property. So, just so everybody knows, I'm very against taxes. Our goal for taxes should be zero. And the rescue department should be trying to get their budget, the budget that's funded by taxes down to zero. So it should be 100% self-supporting. And then I was reading the difference between the two budgets, okay? And I should have had this last meeting, but I didn't. There was a 2% raise that was given in the original budget that went to town meeting. In this budget, it evidently was still in there, at least it took the $1 pay cut. But I cannot believe that you would come here and say you have to cut services and not cut the raises. Now, I know what you guys do is hard work, and nobody wants to do it. I spent 5 years in the Army, 15 months of that was in Baghdad. I know some of the stuff you've seen. I've seen what a suicide bomber does to a group of people. I tasted what a suicide bomber does to a group of people. So don't think that I don't have any idea of where you're coming from and what you do. Now, you may think it's the right thing to do to raise this money, but you need to think about it the other way. What you're doing is you're forcing people to pay for stuff. And that's not how this a community should work. Community should be volunteers. We should all be helping out each other. Right now, it seems like it's us versus them type of a thing, when it should be a we. We as a community, we should all be supporting the rescue. And that, I don't necessarily believe that has to be through taxation. It can be, we could do fundraising. I talked to some people for volunteers. I was trying to get volunteers. And one thing that they all said was they would love to work on the rescue, and this is what people are telling me, but it's too cliquey. Now, normally I wouldn't have thought anything about it, because that's just people talk. But when at the town meeting you get something going your way and you start clapping and stuff like that, and then somebody at the last Selectman meeting left because they were asked to wait their turn to talk. That's very unprofessional, and I wouldn't want to work with people like that. But I was able to find 5 people, including myself, that would donate time. I will give you shifts, whatever you need, and I'll try to get more, and I hope my fellow Selectmen will join. So basically, what I'm asking is that you take the 135 and make it work. If we have to ask people to donate some time, some money, or supplies, do fundraisers, we will do what we have to do. But sometimes you gotta do the hard thing. And I think the easiest thing here to do is just give you whatever you want. But I don't think that really helps out the people of town. And I really think the people of town need to step up too. This isn't all rescue's fault. This is people in the town not supporting the rescue. But something's gonna get, because I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to stay in my house because if we don't do something with taxes. And I know it's only $61 is all it says that it will, but everything adds up. And it's not just gonna be the rescue department that's gonna have to take cuts. I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna check everything. Everything we do should be questioned.
All right, I'll give you a full opportunity for you to make a statement if you'd like to.
I certainly would love to follow up on that, and I would like to thank Selectman Violet for his service to this country. I also think when you serve this country, there is an allegiance to this country. I appreciate your philosophy on it being a republic, but that's not where we're at. We have a long history here in Buckfield of how we conduct our business. And setting all that aside, I think you have some wonderful ideas that I think probably can be discussed going forward. But as for this meeting tonight, I believe that there was a level of irregularity that went into calling this meeting. I believe the conduct of the chairman has not been acceptable to the historical conduct of how we do business here in this town. And I make a motion that this meeting be adjourned immediately and that we have further investigation into those irregularities.
Would anyone like to second that? Motion fails. My statement to that would be, this is how it went down. A selectman contacted me through email, which is not an illegal thing to do. Under the Freedom of Access Act here in the state of Maine, the only time that that would become an illegal act is if we were trying to do something behind the scenes to deny you access to us, and that's not what happened. What happened is he asked for and requested a special meeting. I told him that in my answer, I also made sure that town manager and Cheryl was notified as well that that contact had been made and that the request had happened. There is a Freedom of Information Act that has frequently answered questions. When we become selectmen, we are to either take a class or to review this. And after we review this, frequently asked questions, we are to sign off and we are to say whether or not we understand the Freedom of Information Act. I'm going to assume that our selectmen have done that. Scott may not have done that yet because he's just new and he has 60 days or 120 days to do that. But if you care to, it's right here and you can take a look at that yourself. And then when you're done, you can submit that to Cindy if you'd like to, or you are more than welcome to take a municipal class because those are offered as well, and you can sit and learn about the Freedom of Information Act. If anyone else has a question of whether or not that this was an illegal action done by me as the chairperson, there are copies here of the Freedom of Information Act, and there's a section in there concerning emails and how we are to get an emergency meeting to happen. So that's my statement.
May I add to that statement?
Sure.
I have had somebody contact the MMA this afternoon in reference to how this meeting was called. There are irregularities, there are questions about it, and I don't believe that we can let that go. I think we need to follow up with that as soon as possible.
And the way that the Freedom of Information Act states is that if you feel that there is an irregularity, you must contact the attorney or the attorney general to take care of that.
That's correct. I might also mention that if this meeting is found to be illegal, that anything that we conduct here tonight would be null and void.
That is true.
I'd like to make a motion that we cancel the special town meeting.
I can't second that because what would happen, the way that it has to go, so I'll make sure that we understand the parliamentary procedure. So that way you can make a decision on whether you want to keep your motion or take it or not. The way the parliamentary procedure is if there was an action done at a last meeting and a select person would like to make changes to a decision that was made, they have to rescind their vote from a prior meeting. And then someone needs to second it, and then it will be voted on. So that is the correct process.
I withdraw my motion. I would like to rescind my vote for at the last select meeting.
And I will second that motion so we can have discussion.
Could we have,
On the special town meeting.
And I will second that motion for discussion. So now here's the opportunity for the selectmen to discuss the special town meeting.
I would like to have Selectman Violet's opinion on why it is that he feels that the people should not have an opportunity to revisit this issue now that more information has come forward.
I feel that the original vote at the original town meeting was the way to go. Because what I don't understand is people, in 1 second, they want to be majority rules, and then the next, they don't. It depends on who's in the majority, and I'm new with this, so it's a little hard, but people at the last original town meeting spoke, and they wanted that. That's why I feel we do not need the special town meeting.
Do you feel that as a select person, you're comfortable with allowing cuts to happen that will, in essence, leave the municipality without rescue services?
If there are cuts in services that is gonna be held is gonna be because of the chief, not because of the council.
May I ask, may I ask, may I ask you if you have knowledge of the budget to know where cuts can be made without there being disruption in our services?
This, the budget she gave us, the main thing that was cut was the on-call times. Correct.
There were a lot of things that were cut from that budget.
Yes. Okay, but if you take the on-call times and then you take the raises, that's almost $40,000 right there. Just in those two things. And I'm sure we can come up with
I might have a question in regards to wages that perhaps Cindy can clear up for us. I don't know, does the selectmen have a really working knowledge about when it's decided to have raises, how that is taken care of?